Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. It is Chamber Wednesday. So it's a typical Chamber Wednesday. A lot of times you guys have heard us talk to the Chesterfield Chamber, but a friend of the program is back. John Brandt is back in the building. We'd like to thank him for John Brandt. Welcome.
Hey, Mike, how are you, sir?
Super. So we all know you as John Brandt from the Colonial Heights Chamber. You were the Pied Piper out there to always talking about the great things happening in Colonial Heights. But there's some movement down in that area. You guys have done some big things. Let people know who John Brandt is repping now, the new organization that you have.
So Colonial Heights and Petersburg Chamber has merged. And so now we are the Southern Virginia Regional Chamber, and we're going by SOVA for short. And it's been a great merger so far. We are just excited to be able to help and be that cheerleader for the Petersburg area as well as the Colonial Heights area.
Alrighty, John Brandt is here with this Mike King, ESPN Richmond. That's where we are, 106.1. It is Chamber Wednesday. So, John Brandt, we're going to go back to old school days. You kicked off Mondays with us. I'd always say, John Brandt, give us the Colonial Heights pitch. Then we're going to throw in Petersburg as well. So, give our listeners an idea of Colonial Heights pitch.
So, I am John Brandt, the executive director for the SOVA, or Southern Virginia Regional Chamber. We are a coalition of Colonial Heights Chamber of Commerce and the Petersburg Chamber of Commerce. And so what you get from us is you get about 550 members that you are able to network with.
Whoa, John Brandt stepped up in the world.
We have boosted up our numbers a little bit, and we're growing every day. Last month we had an additional 15 members sign up.
Congratulations.
So we're excited. I think the area is excited about what we're doing and what we've got going on. So we are just ecstatic about the possibilities of what this chamber is doing and what we have going on in the future.
On the Mic with Mike, the best business radio program around. Plus, we're the only daily radio business program that's out there in Central Virginia. John Brandt was always the guy talking about the great things that's happening in the Tri-Cities. But we got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Tom Childry, the credit card guy. If there ever was a guy who knows a woman, Tom Childry is the man. He is a true believer in the power of business, and he's always talking about the great things happening in the Tri-Cities area. So, John, what was the cause, and what do members get from being part of the new SOVA? Because before you guys had what is it, 100 restaurants in Colonial Heights, but now you've added on because you always said that business it wasn't just the Colonial Heights.
We weren't restricted by the 7.5 square miles of Colonial Heights. We were pretty much the Tri-Cities Regional Chamber anyway. And so we have members that range all the way from Florida, all the way up to Michigan, and we go all the way to Virginia Beach, all the way over to California. We've got members that far out. So our territory is not restricted by where your location is. It's about who's the members that you want to meet. And so if you're trying to meet the community members and the chamber members of Colonial Heights and Petersburg, then we are the best fit for you.
We'd like to thank our good friends over at Poplar Springs for being sponsors of the newly formed SOVA, the regional chamber for the Southern Virginia. So thank you for those guys sponsoring the chamber. It's always good when businesses sponsor the Chamber of Commerce, because how am I the best business radio program if I don't have the chamber with us? So it is Chamber Wednesday. We alternate between the Chesterfield Chamber with Danielle Fitzhugh, John Brandt with the newly formed Southern Virginia SOFA Regional Chamber. So, John, let's talk about some new and exciting things happening in your area, because before you just be out there, Pied Pipering about Colonial Heights, but now you got Petersburg too. Let our listeners know, because Petersburg really hasn't been on the map for us in the past. So a lot of our listeners don't know the great things going on in Petersburg as well.
So last year, we were talking about this, And so this is the second year that we're doing it, but the Tri-Cities Home and Garden Show is back. And so this year we moved it to the Keystone Antique Truck and Tractor Museum.
Okay.
So that's our next big event. It's March 25th, 26th, 27th. We're still looking for vendors for that. And like I said, you don't necessarily have to be a chamber member in order to be a part of that Tri-Cities Home and Garden Show. Again, if you're looking to meet community members from the Tri-Cities area, this would be a great opportunity for you to get involved with the Tri-Cities Home and Garden and Craft Show this year.
So you guys have added craft. Plus, last year was at the mall, correct?
Last year it was at the former Sears building.
Okay.
And so some exciting move going on there. They are planning on building 280 apartments right there where the Sears building's going.
And we also had on a good friend from the Chili Peppers. It's on Baseball is Back.
Baseball is on fire again this year with the Chili Peppers. They are returning to Shepherd Stadium, and they've got an exciting year planned out for their move this year for the Shepherd Stadium year.
All right, John, let people know. I always say the elevator pitch. Let people know how they can find and get involved with the chamber down there with you guys.
So we're still trying to get all of the pieces of and parts together with SOVA, but you can still get me at john.brandt@colonialheightschamber.com. You can also get me at info@petersburgchamber.com. But you can always reach me on my cell phone, 804-931-5419. I'm always available. And if I don't answer your call, I will call you back.
John Brandt is always out on the front lines making things happen. So before we came on air, we were talking about the new pharmaceutical initiative that's going on in Petersburg. I don't think that people understand exactly what that is and what that means. Give our listeners, so it's a really big deal as far as the pharmaceutical industries. Give our listeners an idea of what it means.
So the pharmaceutical cluster that's coming to Petersburg, and it's already starting to establish, they're building up the old Boehringer chemical plant. And so what it is that pharmaceuticals used to have to be made in different countries and shipped over, and the different pieces and parts were assembled at one location and then shipped out. Well, one of the doctors over at MCV said, hey, I can do this all here. And so he invested into property down here in Petersburg. And so all the pieces and parts will be assembled right here in Petersburg and then shipped out. It'll reduce the cost of pharmaceuticals, and it'll make it so that pharmaceuticals are more vastly available. So that's the exciting part of what's going on with that pharmaceutical cluster.
Because what it does, it's not just the place making the drugs. It's all the things that are there to support them as well. From an economic standpoint, what will that mean to the Petersburg Tri-Cities area?
So, of course, they're going to be bringing in all the big wigs that are going to be running these plants and everything. So, number one, it's going to bring in more population into the Petersburg and Colonial Heights area. Also, if there's any kind of business that is related to the pharmaceutical industry, they're going to be looking to get as close to that pharmaceutical cluster as possible. It could be manufacturing of boxes. It could be manufacturing of the bottles. It could be manufacturing of, the labels that go on the packages and things like that. So it's going to bring in more businesses into that pharmaceutical cluster that can be an all encapsulated piece for all the drugs to be made here and shipped out to the rest of the country.
On the mic with Mike. John Brandt is here. It is Chamber Wednesday. Always great to have him back on the scene. Like I said, we'd like to thank our good friends at Poplar Springs Hospital for sponsoring the chamber. It's always great when businesses step up to support the Chamber of Commerce. John, when you talk, you had just touched on a moment ago that the Home and Garden Show is at the Sears building, and now they are building apartments there. Can you touch on what that means? They are not building apartments because they don't think people will rent them.
No, they're
They
not.
know.
So they know what avenue they're going after. So number one, if you look at what happened at Regency Square,
It's a nice deal.
that's the vision for what's coming to South Park Mall and at the old Sears building. And so they're looking to build these apartments up. And number one, they're looking for these executives that are running these plants over in Petersburg to come and rent these apartments while they're here for the week. And then they may be gone, the rest of the weekend to go see their family, but they need a place to stay here. And so that's what they're counting on, is those pharmaceutical cluster executives going ahead and renting those buildings. Plus you have others that are looking for high quality apartments here in the Colonial Heights, Petersburg area. And previously, there's been really no places around that are going to meet the high class sophistication of the apartments they're building.
You as a chamber, what part does the chamber play in that process or bringing them in to make something like that happen?
So really, it's the economic development boards that bring those people in. But I think they see that how our businesses are being run in the Colonial Heights area, and they see how tight knit the communities are here in the Colonial Heights, Petersburg, Hopewell, Prince George areas. And so that makes them say, hey, I want to be a part of that community. So I think that's the biggest part that the chambers play, is we're building up the businesses around the area, and businesses see that as a positive and they want to be a part of that.
On the mic with Mike, John Brandt is back in the building with us again. It's been a minute. So John, let's put a wrap up on 2021 from the perspective of how you saw things, and give us an outlook for 2022 from down in your neck of the woods.
So 2021 was hard for a lot of people. Not only our restaurants, and a lot of our restaurants are still going through it, trying to find employees for the buildings and things like that. But I think that in 2022, they're going to see that all the government money is kind of going away. And so people are actually out looking for jobs right now. And so what we're doing at the chamber is we're doing a workforce initiative. And not only are we doing job fairs and trainings, but we're getting them in contact with our other sources like the Virginia Employment Commission and things like that, to be able to get people trained up and be able to go into other jobs that will help them raise their level of the economy too.
On the mic with Mike, John Brandt is here. On the mic with Mike is part of the Mike Cambridge Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond, 5 to 7 a.m. The Choice 105.3, that's 2 to 3 every day, as well as International Business Growth Radio with my good friends Donna Cundy, Bill Eastman over on IBGR Radio. That is a network of international business people. I'm on there Saturdays at 10 a.m. We're talking to John Brandt right now. Let's talk about some of the other initiatives you guys have going on down there from a scheduling standpoint. You have the chamber luncheons. You guys have done, what is it, the turkey trot. You guys are down with baseball. You guys do a lot of things in the community. Give our listeners an idea of some of the things that's happening, because now it's not just Colonial Heights. Now it is Petersburg as well. So we kind of got to get folks ready for what's happening down in your way.
Absolutely. So all of this information is available on our website, which right now is www.colonialheightschamber.com. And so the first and foremost thing that you were talking about, our monthly luncheons happen every third Tuesday of the month, 11:30 a.m. And so we try to move those meetings around to different places in the community. And so last month was at Maria's Old Town. This month it's going to be at MP Bounce with Me. Next month it's going to be at Swift Creek Mill Theater. So we try to move the meetings to different locations so that our members and our community gets a taste of the town from different perspectives. And so that happens every third Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Every second and fourth Thursdays, we have what's called the Community Connections Group. What that is it's a networking group that's within the chamber. And if you're a member of the chamber, it's free of charge for you to be able to be a part of. And what that does is it's a group of your peers that you work with to help better your business. So that's a cool free item that you get as being a member of the chamber. And yes, if you're not a member of the chamber, you can also come and be a part of it and try it out for free and see the value of what the chamber's bringing.
All righty, John, being part of the chamber is good for the business. Yeah, that's what everybody says, but you have the hard facts. And we've had Brody on from the bank talking about there is a real impact of joining the chamber because we see it on our website. And if there's anybody who's analytical, they are banks. So
Yes,
talk
sir.
about what that means to a business who joins a chamber.
So whether you're a member of the Colonial Heights, Petersburg Chamber, Southern Virginia Regional Chamber, or you're a member of Chesterfield Chamber or any of our other great partners, what it does is when that information goes into our website, it boosts your Google ratings immediately. And so what it is that Google has all of their what is it?
Their analytics, no.
Analytics, their programs and everything so when people are going in and searching, it searches key words in that search. And so it boosts your listing up to the top. And so that's what Brody was talking about, was how being a part of the chamber boosts you up in the ratings to be able to be found faster on Google and through the chamber site.
John Brandt, what he's talking about is Brody's a good friend. And what's the name of Brody's bank again?
So he was with the Bank of Southside Virginia, but he stepped out on his own now. So he's with Integrity Marketing now. He started his own company, Integrity Marketing, and so he's big time now.
You know what? You gotta connect and tell him to come on this show and talk about what he's doing. You always like to see people who are out there making magic happen. So connect me with Brody.
Absolutely. So Brody's going to be working for me too. So
I got to come down to Tri-Cities to make magic happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what you said. Tom Childry's always talking about the new and exciting things that are happening down there with you guys. So you're going to different businesses. You have the luncheons every month talking about helping businesses. What are the next big things that you guys have upcoming on the calendar?
So Grapes and Hops is a major staple for the old Petersburg Chamber.
Okay.
Colonial Heights is going to take that. Well, Southern Virginia Regional Chamber is going to
we got to get used to the new name.
I know. So we're going to take that and we're going to run with that event. So Grapes and Hops is happening October 15th this year. And so it's going to be the best wineries, the best craft beers, the best breweries around coming to Petersburg. And we're going to actually have it at the harbor in Petersburg, which is right next door to Old Town. So you'll still be able to take part in some of the great Old Town restaurants, but you'll also be able to come and have some delicious wines and great beers.
So John Brandt is here with us. It is the sofa. It is the newly merged Colonial Heights and Petersburg Chambers of Commerce. There's a lot of businesses that are going on now that way. John, I always talk to people about what's happening from the business standpoint. I always say, what are the streets saying? What are the streets saying to you about what people are thinking about as we're in Q1, but we are working our way through it. What are the streets saying about how people feel about business now?
If we can ever get past all these little snowstorms and we warm up a little bit, I think that all of our restaurants, all of our small businesses are going to be exploding. Our service industry, they can't get enough. They've got so much work that they're having to put people off for months. So, I mean, business is here, business is open, they're ready to go. And so we're seeing new businesses opening up every week. So we just had Missions Barbecue open
Oh,
up
wait,
last
that's what
week.
it was. Okay, so they finally opened the Mission Barbecue down there.
They finally opened up on the 18th of the month. And so if you're down this way, Mike, me and you have to go have barbecue there.
That we got to go there. So, are you guys still doing the ribbon cuttings?
We are. We've never stopped. There's some that are scared to death that, they're going to be a super spreader event, but, for the most part, we try to maintain safe distances. We ask people to wear a mask if they're comfortable with it. And then, like I said, we have the celebration of the business opening. We had some for Crumbles that was down here. It's a new cookie place out here. We've got a couple of new Mexican restaurants that are opening up. We've got, like I said, Mission Barbecue that just opened up. We've got some new businesses opening up in Petersburg. Your buddy Ray Ferguson, he just opened up a new Boppers in Fort Lee.
What's Boppers?
Boppers is a 50s themed ice cream shop.
All right, so Ray Ferguson is the man down there. So he has the escape room. Is he still a roofer?
He's still got Roof Max, which is an alternative to roofing. And so he's got that. He's got Boppers 1 and Boppers 2. So there's a Boppers in Old Town and a Boppers in Fort Lee. And then also he has the flipping guys. So he flips houses too. So
that's him on TV, the flipping guys?
So I don't know if he's on TV, but he does have commercials running on Comcast. So
there you go. So he is doing some great things. Let's talk about what strong partnerships mean to John Brandt as the chamber president. You need to have strong partners.
So absolutely. So Ray Ferguson is, like I said, he's a staple in our community ever since he retired from the Army. And he's started several businesses here in the community. And he's also my vice president on my board of directors. So, his mentorship to me is invaluable, and being able to work with him and be able to do new and exciting stuff with him, finding out his ideas to be able to spread off to the other members. And he also dedicates himself to be able to talk with other members to help them grow their businesses. So those are the type of mentors that I have as leadership in my chamber.
All right, Mike, we're winding down with John Brandt. So John, let's touch on a couple other folks in leadership really quickly who are on your board, who make up the Colonial Heights, the new SOFA regional chamber.
So we got Dr. Cat, which is the quintessential chiropractic. She is our president.
Is that the lady with the mobile?
The mobile chiropractic unit. Yes, sir.
Okay, tell Dr. Cat I said, hey.
I will do that.
It's been a while. Okay, so she's a big proponent of the chamber too.
Absolutely. She's, like I said, she's my president. She's also had several years in business and lends herself to the women of the chamber to be able to be a mentor to them.
All right.
And so she's our president. Our vice president is, like I said, Ray Ferguson. Our second vice president is Marco Callender with the Petersburg YMCA. I don't know if you know him, but if you don't, you need to know him.
All right.
Great guy. Well, I'll introduce you to him. Our treasurer is Eric Crawford of the Bank of Southside, Virginia. We also have Brian Atchison, which is with Solytics.
I just talked to him a while back. He's excited to be part of the leadership of the chamber.
He is a great guy. Again, if you haven't gotten to know him, you definitely need to find him. And then we've got Trisha Palmer with B&T Towing. You had her on the show last year.
That's true. Yeah, we did have her on.
And so, and her partner in crime is Jackie Stuller with BMUU. They work on BMWs and Mini Cooper. And so they're part of my board. Then I got Kathy Hall, which is with Sherwood Title. And we also have Mary Ann with Rent-A-Quip, Mary Ann Darby. And let's see, who else do we have? Zoe York with Waukesha Development. They just bought the Seward luggage factory down here, and they're making those into apartments down here.
Wow.
So
a lot of great things happening down there in your area. Really quickly, because as you show, I always say the microphone ain't free. Plus, my grandkids do need stuff. So we got to go. Let's wrap up. How can people find John Brandt out there?
You can find me easily on www.colonialheightschamber.com. You can find us on Facebook at Colonial Heights Chamber. You can also find us by just calling me on my cell phone, 804-931-5419, or our office line, which is 804-526-5872.
That's right. Or just put up the bat signal and John Brandt shows up. That's how
right.
he does
That's
it.
right.
On the mic with Mike, John Brandt. Welcome back. We'd like to thank our good friends over at Poplar Springs for sponsoring. This is Chamber Wednesday. I'm Mike King. That's John Brandt. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Now take care, man.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Have a good one, man. Take care.
You too.
See ya.